Who liked the world better when it was closed? It's a double-edged sword, and really depends on who you are. If you had a job that was easy to do from home, it's like a dream come true unless you really hate who you live with. Manual laborers, on-site employees, etc., are taking a brutal hit financially that most of them can't afford to take. Mental health is also an obvious issue that would only be made worse with isolation. And the lack of resources available to those who need it also negatively impacts that. It's good that the world has been forced to find ways to adapt to circumstances like these and learn new ways the world and economy can operate more efficiently and safely even in a normal situation. But for really most people this isn't a good way to make these discoveries. I'm a truck driver, so driving while everyone was quarantined was pretty sweet. I have enjoyed not having to go to social engagements I didn't want to go to but felt I had to out of familial duty. I liked it a lot. I am also an introvert, so it didn't really affect me too much at all. I work for a medium-level sized corporation. They are actually super cool and recently sent out a survey to all of the employees to find out what everyone thinks we should do moving forward as far as opening back up and returning to our offices. We have several and 2 HQs that hold a couple thousand employees. Anyway, 73% of employees replied with "we need and are willing to work from home as long as it takes to be the safe, having overarching, stay home and don't interact with people orders has been glorious for my introvert ass. No lol, and I don't even like people on the whole anymore. But not being able to go to other areas and beaches has been horrid. No, I hate this. I feel like I am throwing the best part of my life away. Before quarantine I had so many things going on and so many events to look forward to. All the events are cancelled and my days feel like endless working. I miss my daily scheme and because of the free time I am not as productive as before. I miss the people around me. I miss receiving hugs, touching people, flirting with people. I actually had a mental breakdown about this 2 weeks ago. Just being in social gatherings is something I actually need to be happy. Important is that I live in a shared flat and my room itself is only 8 square meters. Since my housemates are not my family, I am actually not allowed in a 1.5 meters distance and we can only be with 3 people in one room together at 1.5 meters distance. This is actually impossible and bullshit since we will use the same toilet and shower in the end. So if one of us gets COVID, everyone gets it. This is not a major problem for me, since the police hasn't visited our house yet. But my friend who lives with 10 people received a bill because they were with more than 3 people in the living room. I've said most of my life I want to be a hermit. This stay-at-home thing gave me a little taste of that dream. I'm extremely fortunate that I'm able to work from home and it's really been a dream. I feel like I've gotten so close to my partner. I have more time to pursue things that make me happy like gardening, cooking, making artwork. My interaction with stressful conditions in the outside world is now greatly limited. The only downside has been that the world is on fucking fire. I'm high risk, so it gave me a bit of peace of mind. Now that everything is reopening and there are massive protests and everything, my anxiety has skyrocketed. If I didn't have kids, I'd have loved it. I'd have learned new things. I'd have watched lots of movies, played video games, read books, cooked etc. With kids, it's been a hellish Groundhog Day of trying to think of fucking anything to entertain them and stop them watching Peppa Pig on repeat. Is it bad to say if I say that this is what I needed? Just once. This time, in 2020. TBH, it was perfect timing for me. Normally I don't like talking to people and I feel like I am getting better grades when working at home than at school. I learned that there was absolutely no reason for our company to have an office, and quite a few reasons not to. I enjoyed having all the time in the world to read and not have to bother with anyone else. I did and I didn't. As an over-the-road truck driver, I loved being able to drive through any major city at any time of day, and never had to worry about rush hour traffic. I drove through Los Angeles on several occasions with no slowdowns due to traffic. That was magical. However, the part one hated was how scarce it was to find places that were open to find food. Yes, in many areas I was able to use Uber Eats or some other delivery app, but it typically took significantly longer for food to arrive. When you only get 30 minutes during your shift and 10 hours between shifts for eating, hygiene, and sleep, time is precious. Even of the places that were open, the hours of service were drastically changed. Oftentimes if I didn't stop by 7 p.m. then I was on my own. Before the shutdown I usually had up to 11 p.m. unless I stopped somewhere with 24/7 service. I was making more money on unemployment than I ever have while employed, without the need to work 12-plus hour days 6 days a week. I'm going to miss quarantine so much. I've already had a few panic attacks about having to return to the high-stress environment of a kitchen. Sadly, it's probably partly the world closing that caused this. Obviously, the killing of George Floyd really caused this, but I don't think the world being shut down for the last couple months helped the severity of the public's reaction. Being cooped up all the time already had tensions high, and that cop just placed the last rubber band around the watermelon. Lol, my country is still closed. The world is still closed. Just to the US. And with the current riots, marches and protests, things are going to get back to being closed down here real fast again. Everyone who is making more money on unemployment than they did working? Not at all. There were, perhaps, a few things here and there that had some unexpected upsides, but the context through which it was occurring was generally intolerable, and I missed out on plenty of things I had been otherwise looking forward to. I had 1 day of home office before. Now I got the whole week, so it's pretty great. The only downside is that the people that live with me also never leave the house and it feels crowded from time to time. Still, I am saving a lot of money just from not doing the trip to work. Nature. I loved it. Every day I connected with my grandpa and helped him with housework. I mowed twice a week. We fixed up the paneling on the trailer, fixed up the water pipe leaks, and today we are installing a new air conditioner. I preferred the world before 2012. Hell yeah, mostly because I can work from home. Don't have to fight over the bathroom in the morning. Dress up much. Get to the train on time. Make pointless small talk in the office or have people bugging me at all hours of the day. Make it to the return train on time. Or hurry to get to the shops before they close. Now they're trying to get people back into the office as if everyone misses the place. Ugh. They've got all these protocols and distancing measures in place and so many hoops to jump through, just to do the same work there that I can do from home. So not looking forward to normality. In my case, there are no advantages. I'm happy I don't have to go to school, and I never really meet up with anyone, so I'm not bothered by that either. Honestly, my mental health has improved. And spending the extra time with my wife and kid has been amazing. Despite the fact that this has had a negative impact on our finances, I have come out of this healthier than before. I both like it and don't at the same time. As an lazy introvert, I like the fact that I can be alone and I don't have to do much, but I feel like I am wasting a lot of occasions where I could be doing something actually interesting with my life. And I fear that I am going to be even more lazy and introverted once I get out. I did, for the most part, only really miss seeing movies in the theater and some restaurants. Was making way more on unemployment than I normally would and pretty much hate my job nowadays. Returning to work tomorrow and it's going to suck so bad. I'd like to find something else, but it's slim pickings in this area. The world is still closed where I live. I'm lucky to still be working and have a job that can be done from home. I love not commuting to work, especially saving the gas money. Being able to do little chores like throwing in laundry during the day, and being with my dog and cat. If I could keep working from home while the world reopens, that would be ideal, but I miss my friends. Going to restaurants and bars, shopping, hot yoga, reformer Pilates, the crowded Saturday farmers market scene, manis pedis, haircuts, my pottery studio class, and generally just being able to live like I'm used to. And I'm anxious for everyone and their financial, physical health, all the time, and I wish that didn't loom over my head. My physical and mental health improved massively. I was still working from home, but I was getting enough sleep, less stress, eating better. My anxiety was gone. I had time to do things I wanted to do. I wrote so much for my book series. I didn't spend money on junk food or novelties that would only last a few days. Life hasn't returned to normal for me yet, and I don't want it to. Thinking about going back to how things were make me anxious. I do. I want to go to the beach here. Otherwise, I was better off then. I loved the extremely light traffic and very few people in grocery stores. Didn't have to fight through crowds of people. No screaming kids and breezes through checkout. That's about it. Me. But only because I live in the UK and it is open-ish. Who the hell knows what it is? And people are acting like it's open, but our death toll is still not good. I'm a teacher and am terrified for what's to come in these next few weeks. I wish we were, and had been, more closed like you sensible countries out there. Also, I am an introvert. Nothing in my life has changed, though I wish it did. I did, save for all of the rampant hoarders. My family and I still haven't left the house. Only if you have money and you don't worry about rent, food or other expenses. Raises hand. The only thing I've really missed is live music. That shit is my lifeblood. It was never fully closed where I live. Supermarkets was still open. You could still go to work and go outside. It had its ups and downs, but I couldn't take my mom anywhere for her birthday, so I didn't like it better. I'm still doing my part. I'm going to put on my resume. Doesn't need to be told what to do to make work environment better. Me. Without a time-wasting commute every day, I am spending more time with my family than ever. Got time to run every day. Time to tend to my garden. I go to sleep feeling like I've done things other than just go to work. It's been great. I'm a healthier, happier person. Me. Was closed. You mean is closed, right? Still pretty closed in Toronto. I preferred lots of aspects. Off the top of my head, I quit drinking. 11-ish weeks sober. Saved money. Lost a little bit of weight and lost anxiety. Mental health is better than ever. I am an introvert who can fake other behaviors to be professional, but the whole time I am wishing I was in the house not having to talk about work. I have a management job, so a lot of it is talking about work and meta meetings. Meetings about meetings. I was more productive at work. Working from home suits me. I got to hang out with my partner all day. We get on really well, so that makes life easy. Less pollution. And my allergies have almost gone away. There are obviously plenty of negatives. Mind. The world being closed finally made people realize that governments have the resources to treat their citizens like human beings, but consistently decide not to utilize those resources. Everything that has happened so far this year is interwoven, and we deserve every bit of the consequences. These riots are simply the next phase in holding our leaders accountable. I did almost zero traffic to drive through. Everything's closed, so less money on fast food. I used my check to build a pantry out of an unused closet and stock it. Everyone was online playing video games together. No one's outside, so I can get mail in my pajamas. I'm actually saving money and paying off credit cards for once. I'll tell you when it opens. It's still closed for most people. Things seemed a lot easier then. Animals for sure. I've mentioned this on a previous sub, but I've really enjoyed the peace and quiet. I've still been working since the lockdown came into effect, so nothing has really changed for me. I live in a small village, but the nearby town has quite a busy summer season. So there's always a lot of tourists about now, and that brings heavy traffic. Packed pubs and beaches with it, as well as a lack of parking and noise. Hell, the village I live in has 3 touring parks surrounding it just so folk can enjoy the coastal area. So with the lockdown came the disappearance of the tourists and traffic. It's been really nice. The roads are quiet. The air smells cleaner. The beaches are virtually empty, so I can walk my dogs in relative peace and quiet. Pros and cons. But overall, I felt it was a positive period for me personally. It feels sort of wrong to say that, when so many others are suffering either from the virus or prolonged isolation. I've read and ran more in the last 10 weeks than the previous 10 years. I don't love my job. Don't hate it. But am in no rush back to that. I do realize that things need to resume sooner rather than later, but I could take another 4/6 of a week without too much trouble. I have realized that part of the reason I'm content is I have some social anxiety that has eased considerably with not having to get out and about. When things get back to normal, I want to address that.